Hi, it's Warner Crocker, GottaBeMobile.com, coming to you with another GottaBeMobile.com Ink Show. And as you know, right now all of our Ink Shows are sponsored by the good folks at Mobile Demand, the makers of rugged tablet PCs. We'd like to thank Mobile Demand for their sponsorship. Without them, we couldn't do these Ink Shows. You know, if you feel like banging around a tablet PC, check out the folks at Mobile Demand. They've got some things that you can throw around in the casino. Alright, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I've got right here a review unit of the Lenovo X200t tablet PC. This is essentially a refresh of the X200t. And, you know, here's the thing. Everybody's tablet crazy these days. The iPad's just getting ready to come out. And we're looking at more slates than you can shake a stick at, or a stylus at rather. And Lenovo, along with HP, and along with Fujitsu, and along with Toshiba, they still have some convertible tablet PCs out there. In my opinion, Lenovo and HP lead the line with that. Lenovo with its X200 and now 201 line, and HP is getting ready to refresh the 2730 with the 2740 in their EliteBook line. These are great tablet PCs. The X201t is no different. Like I said, it's a refresh. Basically, what's inside is what's been changed. We're now looking at a Core i7 from Intel, and that speeds it up a little bit. This is quite a speedy tablet PC. So we're going to take a quick little tour, open it up. I'm going to show you some of the multi-touch and some of the inking on this. I know several folks have asked about that. Happy to show you what's going on with that. You know, let me just say this. I love Lenovo tablet PCs, like them a lot, have used them a lot. They work very, 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 very well. And if you are looking for a full-featured tablet PC, I'm just going to say this up front as opposed to saving it for the end of the Ink Show. You can't go wrong with one of these Lenovo units. They're really quite nice. So let's take a tour if we can. As you can see, you know, the form factor is essentially the same. I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera here so hopefully you can see the ports. Those of you who've got an X200, no differences at all in terms of what's offered here in terms of the ports. We've got your power here, of course, Kensington lock right here, okay. Here's our exhaust fan, VGA out, LAN port. Right here, we've got a USB port. Here's our wireless on and off, okay, and there we have that, okay, and of course we've got an express card slot right here, okay. On the front side, we've got our switch right here to opens up the lid. We've got an SD card slot right there. Over here, we're looking at more USB, our audio ports. We've got a modem port. This on this particular unit has nothing in it at the moment. I'm sure you maybe could put something in that if you wanted to. Here's our stylus, okay, and we've got one more USB port here. You can see we've got the big old 6-cell battery protruding out the back end. And a lot of folks don't like this about the Lenovos. It doesn't bother me a bit because when I'm using it in slate mode, nice way to hold it there as far as that's concerned. And of course, you know, here on the bottom we can see that we can open up here for our memory. Here's where our battery comes in. You know, we've got a lock for that there. So no surprises. As we open her up here and take a peek on the inside, no surprises here either, with one exception, and that is we have both a thumbstick and a trackpad. Notice the trackpad, you know, you've got your buttons here to use with the thumbstick, and here we've got two to use with the trackpad right here. You've got your options. You can turn one or the other off. And of course, if you want to use a mouse, you can always hook that up too and turn them both off if that's your druthers. But we're looking at your typical Lenovo keyboard, and I'm a big fan of these Lenovo keyboards. I can type a lot on them. And of course, on the bezel here, you can see that we've got a range of controls. Everything from rotation for the screen to screen lock to our toolbox that brings up Lenovo functions, as well as a lock here that basically will lock your screen in place to deal with that. We've got indicator lights, and of course we've got the requisite stickers right here as well. So no surprises on the hardware. Forgot to say we also have fingerprint reader over here. Of course, if you flip this around into slate mode, okay, all of those controls are right there on the bezel for you to work with. Sorry about the glare there. Trying to get the best lighting as I can here in terms of what I'm doing. Now, as I said before, this is touchscreen, okay? And hopefully you'll see that pop up here. Let's see what orientation, and hey, we're in portrait. Okay, there we have it, and touch that, and that goes away. All right, let's sit back down and talk a little bit more about this. Lenovo tablets have an accelerometer, so you need to calibrate this a little bit, because boy, if you move this thing around, this screen will rotate. It's really quite sensitive. But the beauty I find of working with these, whether I'm holding it in this mode, which is how I prefer to work because I'm right-handed here, or whether I'm working with it in the keyboard, is the screen is a wonderful view. I mean, you've got a wide viewing angle on this. I believe we're talking about 185 degrees, so no matter where I am, I can take a look at the viewing angle on this. If I'm holding it in my lap, and my lap goes one way or the other, I can get to see it. If I rotate the screen, I can get to see it. It's really quite nice and looks very, very nice to my eye. Let's take a look at some of the inking features on this. Let me go ahead and pop out the stylus here. I'm going to bring this up close to the camera and give you an idea of that. Now, interestingly enough, I'm just going to call up the tip here, and I'm going to write journal, and that's going to bring up Windows Journal. We've got two screens on this. You can see there you have it. You can see the tip is faded out there in the background. You know what, let me see if I can make this screen just a little bit brighter. Let's bring up that toolbox. You can watch me actually do this here. Let's hit that button again if we can. There we go. Configure brightness. Let's go ahead and so I can do that with the pen, or I can do it with touch. Either way, gives you a good example of how that works. And again, I can take it down with the pen there, so you can see that whether I'm using the pen or I'm using my finger, we've got a good idea. Now, I'm a stylus guy from way back, so I'm used to using the pen on all of this. But to give you an idea, I'm just going to turn this around. This is a test. This is only a test. And let's come up here, choose a little bit of a wider pen. Okay, and of course our highlighters, we can choose and we can highlight there. So tablet PC fans and Lenovo fans, you know, if you're going to be using a stylus to take notes, I'm doing this in journal here, it's not going to fail you. And you notice my palm was all over this thing, no registration marks. Now last night I was in rehearsal for our next production at Wayside Theater of Harvey, and I was alternating between OneNote and Evernote for taking notes just to try this out. Intriguingly, in OneNote I have no vectoring or registration or whatever you want to call those particular issues. Evernote, however, I had to let the pen rest on the screen for just a touch before, just a touch, there's a pun, for just a second or so before I could ink. Otherwise I would get some registration. So you know, Evernote doesn't use the same inking system that comes with Windows as far as that's concerned. It uses its own, and so that's probably a little bit of a fault of the software there. But so if you use Evernote, you might just want to note that as far as that's concerned. Let's talk a little bit about some of the specs that we've got here. Lenovo allows you to configure these things. Now, let's keep in mind that while these are, Lenovo sells these as consumer tablets, Lenovo has a big business interest in these, and they sell a lot of these to big businesses. So there's a lot of different ways to configure these things. You know, you may have noticed up here the antenna on this? Well, you know, it comes with Wi-Fi, comes with Bluetooth, all of those good things, but you can also get 3G installed on this. You can get WiMAX installed on this. You can get up to 8 gigabytes of memory as far as that's concerned. We said we've got an express card slot. You know, that allows you to put a range of different options into one of these things if that's what you're looking for. It does have a 2.0 megapixel camera right here and noise canceling microphones. You know, I haven't tested this one out, but I have done a podcast or two using the X200, and boy, the audio on that was just really, really nice. So those noise canceling microphones work very, very, very well. You know, and again, tablets are everywhere these days, or at least slates are everywhere these days, but I find it interesting that, you know, in Lenovo's publicity and marketing about this, they're advertising that, hey, you know what? It comes with flash. You can use flash on this. Of course, that's because the iPad, excuse me, doesn't. So, you know, hey, maybe this is something for you to consider if you want to do that. But notice how I'm holding this. One hand here. This is relatively light. I mean, you know, these are really sturdily built. Lenovo is well known for how sturdy these things are. Now, I wouldn't classify them as rugged as far as that's concerned. But, you know, I'm holding this by the battery here, and I've got no problem, you know, looking at it this way. In fact, when I take notes in rehearsal, quite frequently, I'm standing up, and a lot of times I'll be holding it in my hand like this. You know, no different here as well. They come in around 3 pounds or so, and again, I've got the 6-cell battery here, so that's the heavy option there. You know, there's a smaller option on this. Battery life, well, I haven't really had the opportunity to run it full tilt and see what's going on here, but last night in rehearsal, the most I was getting out of this was just over 4 hours before it needed to recharge. And that was with the right out of the box with what Lenovo offers in terms of its battery management. Now, speaking of that, Lenovo is also famous for including a host of utilities, everything from security to fingerprint to battery life management, you name it, it's on here. One of the niggles that I have with Lenovo and their tablets is that those things really tend to bog the unit down, I think, somewhat over time. Lenovo's constantly updating those. It's no different than patching for Windows 7. This is running Windows 7 Professional here as far as that's concerned. But those things tend to slow it down, especially on boot up. It takes a little while for these babies to start up. Going into sleep, coming out of sleep, let's find out, shall we? Okay. See, I just rotated the screen. Now I've got a spinning cursor here right now, and it's taking a bit for that to pop up. Okay, and there we go. We're going to close out of what we are, so we're just going from the home screen there. And I'm going to shut her down. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the beeps here. Okay, no disk activity. Alright, we're going to sleep. Okay, there was the beep. Hopefully you heard it. The unit's now asleep. Okay, let's wake it up. And I'm going to turn it around so you can actually see this wake up here on the screen. You heard it beep. Okay, it's going to pop up there. And we are back. Okay, so not too bad as far as that's concerned. You know, my experience, this bogs down and slows down after a while. It's a Windows machine, folks. They tend to do that. You know, so I'm not blaming necessarily Lenovo on that. Interesting. The battery indicator right now is reading that I have 12 hours and 21 minutes left. I don't think that's quite accurate, okay, as far as that's concerned. I'm going to bring up a web page here, and just to be quick about it, we will, I think you know this site. Okay, and I'm a track stick, not a trackpad fan on these, okay? But just to give you an idea of what goes on with the touch on this, and I'll get this closer to the camera here in just a second. There we go. Okay, now you're getting an idea of how the screen rotation works there. Okay, notice it's taking a second for it to rotate. Let's turn that off. And once again, let's see if we can't make this screen just a little bit brighter. There we go. It's running on battery, so that's how Lenovo's got it set at this point. Alright, let's go ahead and make this page bigger here if we can. If we can. Hey, how embarrassing. Okay. There we go. Okay, now, here's why I brought this up. It's got to be mobile there. You can see just how easy it is to scroll with your finger. This is only 2-finger touch, okay? That's all you've got with these. Now I'm having a little bit of luck, not having as much luck coming down. Got to kind of catch it there. Notice what happened. Okay, made it smaller. Made it bigger. Interestingly, it's not picking up all the time when I do it with my thumb, but it tends to do it when I do it with my fingers. So the touch is pretty responsive as far as that's concerned. You can see that the scrolling works pretty well on that. Now, I just touched one of the links there and I pulled this particular article up. So this works pretty well as far as I'm concerned. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Lenovo X200t. Highly recommended by me. I don't think there's a convertible tablet PC out there that is heads and away better than the Lenovo convertible tablet PCs. I think the HP EliteBooks, again, we're still waiting to see the 2740p come out. I think they give them a run for their money, but they're going after the same market but in a little different way as far as that's concerned. This says power, and this says you can do whatever you need to do with on this particular machine. It just feels like a powerhouse here to deal with it. 12.1-inch screen gives you a lot of screen real estate for a notebook. It's fast. It moves very, very quickly through whatever I've been putting it through on my paces as far as that's concerned. So I don't think you're going to go wrong if this is what you're looking for. Certainly if you're a Lenovo fan, this is a worthy upgrade. Is it a worthy upgrade from the X200? I don't really know about that. I compare it this way. I had an iPhone 3G and I went ahead and upgraded to the iPhone 3GS. There are some new features on the iPhone 3GS like video and this kind of thing. But the thing that I was most glad about was the bump in speed from the processor bump on going from the 3G to the 3GS. There is not as much of a notable difference going from the previous X200 to the X201t with the Core i7. Yes, it's faster. In fact, I think it's probably one of the fastest notebooks I've worked with in quite some time. Forget that it's a tablet PC for a second. But if that's important to you, it might be worth upgrading. The form factor is essentially the same. But if you're looking for a new tablet PC, if you're a generation or two back with your tablet PCs and you're ready to move up to something else, I don't think you could go wrong with the X201t. Lenovo makes great tablet PCs. I expect them to continue doing that. So this is Warner Crocker for GottaBeMobile.com. Hope you've enjoyed this InkShow about the Lenovo X201 tablet PC. Big thanks to Lenovo for sending us this review unit. It's going to go on to one of our other team members. They're going to give it a try out here and see what they think about it too. And once again, a big thanks to our InkShow sponsor, Mobile Demand. Without them, we couldn't be doing all these InkShows. So give them a shout out and let them know that you're appreciative as well. All right, until the next InkShow, take care.